Gotta say I agree with Shego here. I don't know what Kim's talking about. I've been wearing black my entire life, and I have always been a fashion icon. So, if you couldn't guess by that intro, today, we're gonna be talking about Shego. Shego is the badass supervillain sidekick to Dr. Draken in the Kim Possible series. She is probably one of the newest heroes that I've ever done on a hero overview, probably since I did Mr. Big a few months back, but Shego has seriously blasted her way to the top of the meta really quickly with her absolutely ridiculous damage dealing kit. I mean, you'll see when I go through the skills, the damage that she can inflict is absolutely ridiculous. Plus she has Shatter, which is also extremely ridiculous, and she even has a little bit of buff removing to go along with it. So, as always, we're gonna go through her skills, her friend discs, what mods you should give her, who she pairs well with as teammates, who she's good against, and of course, how to counter her.
Oh, Shego! My sides hurt!
So, without further ado, let's just get right on into it, because I don't feel like wasting any time today. Guys, we are getting so close to the big 1,000 subscriber amount, so if you guys want to help me out, I would hugely appreciate anybody that subscribes right now. You would seriously be my best friend. We can be friends. Just chat with me, you know? We can be friends. Okay? So, as always, we're gonna start with just going through her skills. So, her white skill is Plasma Beam. It deals fantastic damage, note that. Shego blasts a Plasma Beam through enemies, dealing about 8 million damage at max for my server, damage 6 times to each enemy. This doesn't look like that ridiculous damage on the surface, but keep in mind it deals it 6 times. So actually what this does is it does 8 times 6, which is what, 42? So it does 42 million damage total. So that's like almost on the Cheshire Cat level of damage.
No, really, I'm listening. Go on.
So this does a lot of damage, and as we move on to further down on our kit, you'll see that this is probably going to deal even more damage because note the fantastic damage here comes into play. Her green skill, Energy Ball. Shego lobs 2 balls of green plasma at the farthest enemy, dealing 7 million damage at my max level for my server with each hit and applying Shatter for 5 seconds. Now, if you do not know what Shatter does yet, enemies take 8% of their max HP as true damage each time they are dealt fantastic damage from any enemy. So this could be from her, or it could be from any of Shego's allies. So this just makes it so that Shego can just dish out tons of damage almost instantly. And also keep in mind that since this deals it 6 times separately, and it's all fantastic damage, this will trigger the Shatter 6 separate times. Insane, right? Alright, so her blue skill, that's my job. That's my job.
I am not gonna let this thing just waltz in and destroy Kimmy. That's my job.
When Shego reaches 50% of her max HP, she flies into a rage, increasing her attack speed by 75% for 9 seconds and healing herself for about 3 million HP each time she damages a shattered enemy for 9 seconds. This attack speed buff is increased by 25% per shattered enemy. This could either be her best ability or her worst ability, because if you don't have her paired with good teammates that are going to keep her safe, she might not even live long enough to get this skill off. However, if you say have her paired with Meg, this could be extremely good for getting her attacks off really quick, and she's probably going to fall below 50% of her max HP multiple times, so this could trigger 2 or 3 times in the fight for the duration of the fight. So definitely don't underestimate this skill. It is definitely very good if Shego is paired with the right team. However, it again could also be like her worst ability just because she might not even live long enough to actually see the benefits of this. So let's move down to the purple skill. Every 3 basic attacks, Shego applies Shatter that lasts 5 seconds to enemies she damages. This just gives her even more Shatter on top of the green skill Shatter that she's already applying. So she basically just applies Shatter to the enemy pretty much constantly throughout the fight. That's pretty much it. I've already talked about Shatter a little bit, so just every 3 basic attacks, she has even more Shatter that applies to enemies, and makes it so she does tons and tons of true damage. Her red skill, Evil Sidekick.
Last time, where's Draken?
What am I, his secretary?
No, his sidekick.
Plasma Beam now damages enemies 2 more times. So this means that the Plasma Beam is going to trigger the Shatter 8 times total. So this basically means that shattered enemies are going to just instantly take 64% of their max HP in true damage to all shattered enemies. Shatter is just absolutely overpowered. I don't even think it should have been added, to be honest. It's really ridiculous. In addition to all of that, when an enemy has Shatter applied to them, Shego gains a shield with 3 million HP that lasts 5 seconds. I don't think this really matters that much on that part, but Plasma Beam damaging enemies 2 more times is pretty sweet. The shield, I don't think that's that great, and it's not even that strong of a shield or anything. It's only 3 million, which really isn't that much in the grand scheme of things, especially in today's ridiculous damage dealing meta that we have right now. Yeah, definitely the key takeaways here is Shatter is ridiculous, and Plasma Beam is one of the best white skills in the game for sure. Just the amount of damage that Shego is able to put out is just absurd. That's really it. So let's move on to the friend discs. I'm going to start with the Kronk friend disc here, because I think it's the slightly worse one. Minion of Mine.
How about we stop that thing from escaping?
After him!
On the level-based side, Shego gains basic damage, and all damage roll allies and Shego deal additional fantastic damage every 3 basic attacks. So basically what this means is that she's going to be triggering the Shatter from her basic attacks as well, because normally she wouldn't, as well as her entire team is going to trigger the Shatter from Shego every 3 basic attacks. On the star side, she gains fantastic crit, and all yellow team allies gain 125% attack speed for 6 seconds at the start of the fight, and obviously this will increase with the stars. I'm not sure what it goes to at max stars. I haven't worked on this one. My guess is it's going to be like maybe plus 50 or something fantastic crit, and it'll be like 20 or 25 seconds or something like that. Yeah, so this friend disc is definitely really, really good. Since this triggers with yellow team allies, this could really, really go well with heroes like Vinny, Mim, Mr. Big, Mushu, a couple other yellow team heroes like that, especially the damage roll ones. So this one is slightly more situational just because it really only goes with both damage roll allies as well as yellow team. But if you happen to have either yellow team or just damage roll with her, it could really go well with it. So that is that. Now we're going to talk about the Kim Possible disc, which is the one that I use personally. I think it's slightly better. I don't know. They're both pretty damn good, not gonna lie. On the level-based side of things, Shego gains max HP, and also Shego gains basic damage each time she removes an energized buff up to a max of some basic damage. On the star side, every 2 basic attacks, Shego removes all energized buffs and 3 random buffs from enemies she hits. So, energized is something that a lot of new heroes have nowadays, like Fairy Godmother, Jim. I didn't list these off the top of my head, but you can look through the stats. You got Russell, you got Esmeralda, Unstoppable. That's basically just going to be a counter for all of them, especially Jim, because Jim applies applies Energize a lot. And then also on top of that, she also removes 3 random buffs from the enemies that she hits. So really awesome as well. Any stat boost or anything like that that an enemy has is just going to be immediately removed, and it's just going to help to facilitate Shego dealing a lot more damage. But like I said, this is the one that I use. I think they're both relatively even powered. I just think this one is slightly situational. It really depends on what team you have paired with Shego, because this one can just be pretty much useless. I mean, not completely useless because it still applies to Shego regardless, but if you don't have the criteria to actually be able to use the friend disc, so there is that. So, we've talked about the skills and the friend discs. How about the battle badge? Her battle badge is charged when heroes perform 12 or more basic attacks, and she gains basic damage and skill power per damage roll hero. And then once you enhance it, she'll also gain attack speed for 5 seconds. Now, this one, it seems decent. Attack speed is always really, really good, but it only lasts for like 5 seconds and it'll only trigger once. So I don't really know if this one's really worthwhile to enhance, but you totally can. It'll definitely be really helpful. But I mean, she already gains attack speed from her blue skill, so obviously it's great to unlock any battle badge, but I don't know if this one's really worthwhile to enhance in the grand scheme of things. So now let's talk about mods. Shego's got a few options with mods. Obviously, the main thing that you want to get out of her mods is dealing more and more damage with her. So what I would suggest is to go with the green skill personally, just to make it so that her green skill does even more damage. This is definitely the number one that I recommend. You could also go with the blue skill if you want her to heal herself more, but really she is really frail and not defensive whatsoever, so this was really not worthwhile to me. And then I would 100% avoid the purple skill because it's just a level-based skill. And unless you are not at max level for your server, I would not recommend giving it to purple. So purple, I would avoid. And then if we look at some of the other options here, you could totally go with any circle mod, but like I said, she is not a defensive hero whatsoever. So I don't even know if it's really worth the effort to put in an armor or reality. Starting shield could be cool to just help give her a little bit of a defensive boost in the beginning, but at the end of the day, you really want her to just deal more damage. So you could also totally go with an attack speed mod. Speed boost mod would be great to just help her get her damage off even faster. And then you could also give her fantastic crit because I didn't mention yet, but especially with her red skill unlocked, Shego has a pretty good fantastic crit. So if you wanted to increase that more, it's just going to make it so that she has a higher chance of critting with all of her fantastic attacks. I would definitely avoid normal crit for the most part. I guess you could do it, but she really doesn't get much benefit from it because she doesn't really do any normal damage except for her basic attack. So basically, the only ones that I would really avoid for mods are purple skill and normal crit. Other than that, you can kind of do whatever you want. I wouldn't really recommend armor, reality, or shield unless you just have a free spot that you can throw on her. I mean, it can't hurt. But I also think that you really want to go in with the damage. So we talked about her skills, her friend disc, battle badge, and her mods. One more quick thing I wanted to mention before I got into anything else in this video. Shego is actually the queen of blue invasion right now. Shego can pretty much take out any bot pretty much instantly just because of the shatter, and even just having somebody else that does some kind of fantastic damage on her team, really effective at taking out the boss. Shego doesn't really work outside of blue invasion. She does work a little bit, but it doesn't really work 100% of the time because there is this chance to fail on all of the abilities that have shatter on both Russell and Shego. So for that reason, Russell really only 100% works on red invasion and Shego only 100% works on blue invasion. So I wanted to bring that up really quick because Shego definitely deserves a shout out just because of her effectiveness in invasion. Now, if you've seen any of my videos recently where I use Shego, I pretty much always have Shego paired with Megara, or Megara, as I found out is the actual pronunciation. I'm still going to say Megara. I like it way better, okay? I'm sorry. This is because of Meg's link. As long as Shego is standing up front, she'll always get linked with Megara, Meg, whatever you want to say. I don't know what the fuck it is, okay?
Megara.
I mean, I do know what it is. I just refuse to change because I am an ignorant slut and also stubborn.
Megara.
Anyways, so Meg link with Shego is going to make it so that Shego cannot die until Meg does. And then after that, if you have the Shank disc on Meg, which is the one that you should have, this is by far the better one for Meg. So she will be invincible for 7.5 seconds after Meg dies. This just allows Shego to live for more than 2 seconds like she normally would. Meg and Shego together are pretty much one.
You committed a major felony so I could help you pull it off? Oh, that's so thoughtful.
Well, our last crime together went flawlessly, except for the part where we got caught and arrested.
The queen duo, pretty much. Or the princess duos. Whatever you want to say. I know Shego is the villain, but you get what I'm saying. If you don't have Meg, there's a few other options that you can use to protect Shego. And they are, you could do Jim, you could do Angel, pretty much any tank, I guess. I don't know how good tanks are going to be at protecting, but some probably better than others. But Kermit would also be great to help protect her just because of the invincibility that Kermit applies. Definitely the key is that you want to try and keep Shego from dying. Another great thing that's going to help is having her with Tron. Tron is going to help clear the buffs that the enemies have in order to give Shego an opening to deal lots and lots of damage and just take them out instantly, especially if you are facing an enemy Kermit. Tron's white skill is going to help just clear all the invincibilities, give Shego her opening to take them all out pretty much instantly like she does. That's pretty much the key with Shego, is as long as the enemy is defenseless, Shego will just melt everybody on the enemy team basically instantly, and there's really not a whole lot they can do about it. That's pretty much my entire good against section. I really don't have anything for the good against. There really isn't anybody that Shego is particularly good against, other than maybe armor heavy teams or just heroes with low reality in general.
Ugh, great. How did you know?
You're predictable.
Really, am I? Then predict this!
Regardless, Shego is just going to just take out anybody in the matter of seconds with her white and green and just shatter in general. Yeah.
Damn, I'll keep circling. There's nowhere to park.
You too?
Yeah, what is up with this city?
That's the good against section right there. I really didn't have anything there. She is very straightforward of a hero. She just does the damage thing extremely well, and probably has the highest overall damage output of any hero in the game, so that's pretty much that. With that very short good against section out of the way, let's talk about the counters for Shego. How do you take her out? Yeah, she does ridiculous damage, but you know what the #1 counter is for Shego? It's this right here. This little tiny rock, this little pebble, you just throw it at her and she'll just fucking die, okay? That's all you need. 3, 4, 5. Okay, but seriously, as I've already hinted to a couple times, Shego is absolutely one of the frailest in the game. If she has nothing to protect her, she will quite literally go down to like almost anything. Some things that are really going to help are just things in general that are going to help reduce the amount of damage she's able to output. So some of the best ways to help with that are going to be slows, say like Pooh, or maybe not Pooh because it's a little bit slow of a slow. Ron, you got Draken, Mad Hatter does quite a bit of slowing. He's very popular nowadays. Pocahontas, you got Kristoff, and a few others like that. King Louie, I think Animal even slows a little bit. Plus Animal will increase the speed of your team so that you're able to deal damage faster to them. Slow is something that's really just going to help prevent Shego from being able to get as much damage off. I say this every single time, but Silence is going to make it so that she cannot get any of her skills off, such as with Angel, or Disgust, or Sadness, or Tia, Mushu, Lilo, Carl, anybody like that. Really help to make it so that she can't get her white or green or even her purple skill off, so you can't get shattered quite as much. That's kind of the whole idea, is you want to just kind of slow her down, make it so that you have an opening in order to deal the damage to her. Another great counter is literally just to go in with your Shego against their Shego.
Shego, do what you do!
Shego versus Shego just kind of comes down to who gets their white skill off first, especially after the Meg dies. Kind of the same with Wasabi or any other really fast damage hero like that. You could also do Wasabi versus Shego, anything like that. So you got like a 50-50 shot there. But if you can get some speed or silence them or something like that, it could actually be really effective. And you could really increase your odds of winning the fight by just having something like that. I know it sounds stupid, but Shego versus Shego, pretty damn good. Another thing that's going to help, but it's really not the best, is going to be Timon and Pumbaa. Timon and Pumbaa are just going to prevent Shego from being able to crit. I mean, she doesn't have the best fantastic crit ever, but Timon and Pumbaa still could prevent Shego from being able to get at least a decent amount of damage off. But the real reason that Timon and Pumbaa are going to be helpful against Shego is because if you remember on Shego's Kim Possible disc, she removes buffs from enemies when she uses her basic attacks. So anytime that she removes buffs from the enemy, this means that Timon and Pumbaa's Hakuna Matata are going to get reapplied throughout the fight. While this isn't the best counter in the world, this will certainly help to, one, reduce the amount of damage that Shego does, and also grant Timon and Pumbaa's allies more armor and healing for, a number of seconds. So, like I said, it's not the best counter in the world. However, it could definitely help a little bit here and there. Another great thing that will help against Shego a ton is going to be Cleanse. Cleanse is going to remove the shatters from Shego from your team, so that Shego can't deal nearly as much damage to you. So, some of the best cleanses in the game are going to be Rapunzel, Kevin Flynn from his white skill, you got Manticore from her white skill, and now you have Ariel from her white skill, as well as her, I think, blue skill? Or green skill, sorry. But another great reason that Ariel is going to be good against Shego is because of the Gerald friend disc. Ariel and allies take reduced damage from true damage when they're affected by heal over time from Ariel. This actually maxes out at 75% when you reach max stars, so if you get her to that point, you're basically going to be reducing the amount of shatter damage that you take by 75%, which is pretty huge, not gonna lie, right? So you're basically going to reduce the 64% of the max HP taken that I mentioned earlier, and reducing it down all the way to 14% of max HP taken, which is a hell of a lot less, right? This Ariel disc as well as Ariel's cleanse are a huge way that I think Ariel's going to be an extremely effective counter against Shego. It's going to be tough to keep up with the amount of shatter that she applies, because she applies a lot of shatter constantly. Like I said, it's every 3 basic attacks, and it's every time she uses her green skill. But I just thought of this off the top of my head right now. I didn't even have it in my notes. Something else that could help her not get as many shatters off is going to be Blind. Blind is going to prevent Shego from being able to use her basic attack. So you could do Mulan, Jim, Ian, Bunsen, and Beaker. They all have really good blinds. So does Powerline, and I think Esmeralda does too. There's quite a few heroes that have blind, and that's really just going to prevent her from being able to get her shatters off quite as much off her purple skill. Another thing that's going to prevent your team from being shattered is Hardy. There's lots of heroes that Hardy is going to prevent the hero that has Hardy from being able to be shattered one time and then be removed. So if you can get some good Hardy stacks onto your teammates, it's going to be another great way to prevent your team from being shattered. So some of the best Hardy users in this game are Tron, Rapunzel, Belle. I think Fozzie has pretty good. Fairy Godmother has good Hardy too. I think Li Shang does. I'm pretty sure Linguini does also. I'm just going off the top of my head here, not really any particular reason here, but yeah, so Hardy is another great way to help prevent your team from being shattered, like I said. And then piggybacking off of that, Tron is also going to be a good counter for Shego for kind of a very specific reason. It's because when the enemy Meg dies and then Shego is left to be invincible, Tron's white skill can actually take out the invincibility and make it so that you're able to take Shego out a lot faster.
Shego, you're not still upset, are you?
Oh, no, I'm just admiring your little electromagneto whatchamahooey.
Now, note that Tron cannot get rid of the link between Meg and Shego, so it doesn't really help with that. However, you could also use the white skill to get rid of any speed boost that Shego has or any other boost that she gets from the enemy team. Tron literally counters everything in the game. I don't think there's a single video where I won't have Tron as a counter for the hero for one reason or another. I can't really recommend Tron enough. I honestly think he is the #1 hero in the whole game. He is really, really that good. But anyways, it's not a Tron video, it's a Shego video. Shego is probably the #1 damage hero in the game right now, maybe head-to-head with Ronstoppable. And then I think the last thing I have here is actually going to be Kronk. I feel like I didn't really have a ton to say here, but I mean, Shego is very, very straightforward of a hero. There's really not as much to explain as you might think. Kronk is basically just going to possibly get Shego off the board with his pull the lever move. His blue skill, pull the lever, is just going to make a random enemy fall through a trapdoor, and it basically could just take Shego out of the fight completely for a couple seconds and just give you an opening to take out the rest of her team so that when Shego comes back, you can just take her out instantly. The only downside to this is it is a random enemy that is selected, so there really isn't a guarantee that this will take Shego out of the fight, but on the flip side, you could also take out Shigo's protection with this ability, so pull the lever and take Megara out, or Jim out, or Angel out, or anybody else that they're using to protect Shego. Anyways, that is going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I love doing these hero overviews. They are by far my favorite videos to make, and I know a lot of you guys enjoyed them too, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and that is going to be it. So, peace.
You changed my life. I will never forget you.
3, 4, 5. Fuck more. How did Pooh go down?
Nani?
お前は